Hey everyone, Dylan with GoldPaydirtReviews.com, and I'm going to be doing another video. I recently did one on how I grade out and review all my Paydirt, and I wasn't really happy with the last one I had, and I was going back to re-rate all my old bags that I've reviewed, and I didn't really have a system in place, and I didn't want to change them all when I wasn't happy with the system I was using. So I tweaked it a little bit. I mean, I really only changed one thing. But I figured I'd shoot a new video so everyone will know. This is going to be on my main page of my website, and it'll be here so if you want to go back to look at it. And I probably will put a link to it in all my new future videos. But let's get forward. I'm just going to tell you how I review all my Paydirts and some sample bags here. So let's get to it. Number one is Roy. Now, as you all know, that's gold divided by the cost of the Paydirt. So if you recover 1 gram of gold, you divide that by if you paid $49.99 into that. And that would be how much you pay your Roy is. Now, I know a lot of sellers, I get a lot of flack from sellers about Roy and how it shouldn't be so important. When I first was reviewing, that was pretty much all I based my reviews on was the Roy. And I understand, it isn't everything, but it is something. Typically, I think about a 50 to 60% Roy is a good bag. Anything below that, I typically won't buy again. If it's above that, of course I'll buy again. But I think that should be around 60% is probably what you should be happy with and what I'm happy with. Now, it does change depending on what you're paying, though. So if you buy a $10 bag, I'd probably be okay with a 40% Roy. Because, if you think about it, if you get $4 worth of gold out of a $10 bag, it doesn't leave a lot for the seller minus, his costs, his fees, the packaging and things like that, and his work he put into it. And he's, he might make $2 or $3 off of it. It's not a lot, as opposed to if he gave you a 60% Roy, he probably wouldn't make anything. He might make $1. No one's going to do anything to make just a $1. They have to sell so much Paydirt to be crazy. Now, again, if you bought a $100 bag of Paydirt and got a 40% Roy, that's ridiculous. Now imagine if you bought a $1,000 bucket of Paydirt and you only got a 40% Roy. So I think they should go up. If I spent $1,000 on a bucket of Paydirt, it better have a 70% Roy. I mean, that still leaves a ton of meat on the bone for them. So that's all I'm going to say about Roy. It is important. Okay, so I got some more to say about it. So Roy is important, but the reason I wanted a 10-point system is because it isn't the everything. So, all right, that was number one. So number two is a Roy. And what that is the actual Roy. Now, the reason I'm doing this one is because you will eventually sell your gold. Most people will sell their gold. And I also wanted to show what the true value of the gold is, and I got this from my buddy Wayne, who also does reviews. And what it is, it's the gold value minus 18%, which is about what you can get to sell your gold. Now, some do charge fees, like they'll charge you a $10 fee, but most charge 15%, where they give you 85% of spot. And then there's 3% for PayPal fees. Now, some will charge like, a $20 handling fee, but I'm not going to count that because if you did that on this bag, you'd make it would have no Roy. So that's something that you would have to pay, it's just assume that's a cost you have for dealing with businesses. But the A-Roy, again, is gold value minus 18% divided by the Paydirt cost. So again, now I have the Roy and the A-Roy as two of my things out of my 10. And that'll be for that one. That was number two. All right, number three. Number three on my list is a fun factor. How fun was the Paydirt? And I mean, this fun's going to be different for everyone else. So if you're a beginner, it's going to be fun if you find a lot of chunky gold and, you're just finding gold. To someone that's really, really good at panning and loves the really tough stuff, something fun to them might be, finding that under 100 gold. So it's going to really depend on the person that's buying it. But so I really give it my fun factor, and I try to think of everyone, if it is a bag listed as easy, and it's going to be chunky gold, I'll review it if that's, I'll review it as if finding chunky gold would be fun to me. So I do base it on that. So that's my number three. All right, number four, value. And what the value is what I do is that's my Roy plus my A-Roy plus my fun factor divided by 3. So This way, you know, it gives a value, and that's, you know, if you have a decent ROI, a decent AROI, and a great fun factor, it'll give you a decent value. I mean, that's one of my key stats, I think, is the value of a bag. So, you know, because having a high ROI with an unfun bag, you know, if I bought this bag for $50 and I found a $45 nugget in it, it had a great ROI, but if that's all I found, it really would suck, you know? So the fun factor is important, which helps out the ROI and the AROI, so it makes it a value. So that's that one. Number 5, the overall experience. Now, this is my experience with everything from the ROI to the fun factor to the value to my actual ordering it, getting it in, the shipping process, customer service, the packaging, everything. But it doesn't include like the description or the quantity. So it's kind of just a variable about, you know, was it an enjoyable experience overall, not just the Paydirt. So that was number 5. All right, number 6 is going to be the Paydirt description. Now this is going to be the description on the website or eBay or wherever you're buying it from, even if you're buying it out of a magazine. You know, because the description is really, really important. Because let's say if you're a really experienced Paydirt panner and some guy's selling some easy Paydirt with only chunky gold, it's not going to be, you know, you don't want that. You wouldn't buy that. You would be, and also if you're a really beginner and you just started painting, this is your first time buying Paydirt, you don't want to buy something where all the gold is under 100 mesh. You know, you're never going to find it. You're going to complain. You're going to feel ripped off. But so a Paydirt description is really, really important. And unfortunately, most sellers don't have very good descriptions. A lot of them just say, you know, 1 pound Paydirt, and that's it. So that's that one. That's number 6, Paydirt description. All right, this is going to be number 7, Paydirt quantity. Now this is, does the Paydirt, if this is a 1 pound bag, does it weigh 1 pound? And I don't mean exactly 1 pound. I want over. I don't want to be paying for this bag. As much as I like this bag, I don't want to be paying for it. So on my scale of 1 to 10, if I will give them a 10 if this weighs a little bit over a pound. It has to a pound and a gram. I don't care. But if it's a pound exactly, I'd give them a 9 because I don't want to be paying for the bag. I'm buying Paydirt, not the bag. I mean, it's nice that they do better bags, so I want to at least get a pound though. And unfortunately, a lot of bags recently I've been getting have been underweight. So you lose points if, you know, it's all these are, since all these are on 1 to 10 scale, you're going to lose points. So that's how I grade on the bat. So, all right, number 8, Paydirt packaging. Now I know a lot of people complain that I talk about this and I do review on this, but to me it is really important. So the way I grade things is I give a 10 if you use these bags, which are, this is a 6 mil Mylar bags, and some sellers do use this. It's a great bag. They don't break. I mean, they're really hard to break. I mean, these are the ones that people package glass stuff in, so if the glass does break, it won't puncture the package. They are great bags, 6 mil. So this would be a 10 to me. Now this is a typical coffee bag that 90% of sellers use. And I give this one an 8 on my scale from 1 to 10. And one of the reasons is because these bags are made to keep things fresh. That's it. They're not made to have pressure. As you can see, it's full of air. And when you send things to the post office and there's weight being pushed on it, they typically split on the seams in the bottom. I get more emails from people telling me that they bought from so-and-so seller and the bag was busted and they don't want to replace and this, every time it's one of these bags. So that's number 8 to me. Now number 6 is a typical Ziploc bag. I don't really like these, but I understand why people are using them. But the price difference between these 3 bags isn't very much. I mean, we're talking about 2 to 3 cents. So, I mean, these are actually typically more expensive than these, which are better bags. So, now I do give a bonus point if they're double bagged. So, you know, if this is in 2 Ziplocs, instead of getting a 6, they would get a 7. This, if it had a, you know, like one of the reviews I recently did, they had these bags, but they were inside of a Ziploc bag, so they get a 9. This is a 10, so it doesn't matter. You could triple bag, you're still going to get a 10, but I won't mention it and talk about it. Anything below a 6 is even thinner bags. And you'll get like, see, this is a Ziploc, which is a good bag. But if you get the really, really cheap bags, they're, you know, because these are typically, Ziploc bags are 3 mil. And you can buy 1 mil and 2 mil bags. So if they're using those, the score will go down. So that was my number 8, Paydirt packaging. All right, so number 9. This is going to be customer service. So For customer service, I email every single seller before I buy, sometimes months before I buy, and I just save all the emails in a little folder. And I go by, I ask them several questions, and so my customer service will go by, you know, how quickly they reply, if they answer the questions, if they dodge the questions, and things like that. Customer service is really important because if you have a problem, you don't want to find out then that the seller doesn't have an email address on their website or they don't respond. You know, you want to know this stuff before. And I always highly suggest before you buy any Paydirt, email the seller. They have a lot of websites and eBay sellers that pop up every day. Email them first. If they're too busy to reply, they're too busy for your money. So that was number 9. All right, the last one, number 10. So number 10 is shipping. Now this one, it's everything. It goes by how they package it, how fast they shipped it, and things like that, and how much they charge. Now typically most Paydirt sellers, I found the cost is pretty on spot. The ones that do charge shipping, it's typically $7 or $12 for either the small priority mailbox or the medium priority mailbox. And then some are as high as $17, but that's usually from places like Canada or overseas. So the shipping cost, I don't think I've ever found anyone that's really tried to gouge anybody on the cost of the shipping. Now, one of the problems I do come across a lot, and even the packaging, again, I'll say this, the packaging, I've never really had a problem with anyone with the packaging. The one problem I do get is people that take a long time to ship. And I understand you get busy and stuff like that, but if you're selling stuff, you got to be able to ship it. So, but I do a variable on all those. Most sellers do pretty good on shipping, but there are a couple that they get knocked down a point because they either wait too long to ship it, or I think I might have, you know, had one seller that they charged some ridiculous amount. But in most things, the shipping is usually pretty good on sellers. But I do rate it because it is important. You don't want to find out that some seller takes 2 months to ship. So, well, that's it. That's my 10 reviews that all are based on a 1 to 10 system, then divided by 10 to give you your final score. All right, thanks. That was Dylan from GoldPaydirtReviews.com.